Okay, so we're going to just review rounding decimals a little bit. This has been a question that some students have been asking me about, which means we need to go back over it, or I need to review with you when we're rounding, and that's totally cool. Okay, so let's just remember when we're rounding, the idea of we say, who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, leave that mess. And we can also remember Meatball Mountain as well for rounding. So the same rule applies for the decimal number. So let's just look at a number here. So let's say you had this. And in grade 6 land, we're going just to the thousandth place, which means we need to go 3 digits. Remember, this 4 is in your tenths, 5 is in the hundredths, 6 is in the thousands. Okay. And so that means we are going to ask ourselves, who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, leave that mess. So number 3 is knocking on the back door here of this decimal number. So to round it, we would just leave it as the 6. We would only go 3 decimal places over. The reason we don't need to write a 0 here is 456 thousandths is equivalent to 4,560 10 thousandths. That's that fourth column when we go over. And just to help you visualize this, I can drop a 0, and you'll notice we now have 456 thousandths again. So that 0 is there, it's implied, you don't have to write it. You would just do this part. Okay, let's look at another one and we'll just practice a few together here. Okay, so let's do a couple. I'll write a few on the screen for us. Okay, so I've written a couple examples here, and the numbers may look big and scary when you first look at them, but just remember to take a step back and just think through the rule. First thing, we know we're going to go just to the thousandths column in each of these. So quite honestly, it doesn't matter how many digits are to the right of that, we're only going to this thousandths column. So let's do our back door here. Who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. So 7 is knocking on the back door of 3. So 5 or more, raise the score. So 7 is greater than 5. So that would round to 754 thousandths. Let's look over here. 4,921 ten thousandths. We're only going to the thousandths. So there's my thousandths. Who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, leave that mess. Well, it's a 1, that's less than 4. So 4 or less, we're just going to leave that mess. So that would round to 492 thousandths. Same thing over here, and you may see all these digits and go, what am I going to do? No, we're going to do what we know to do. We're going to find the thousandths column, and we're going to say our little ditty. Who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, leave that mess. And that's what we're going to do there. So hopefully that helps. Let's do a couple together, and we will put our answers into the Nearpod. Here we go. Take a moment, and you're going to round this. Okay, if you followed it, there's my door. 5 is knocking on the back door. This would be your answer, 814 thousands because 5 or more raise the score. Let's go do another one. All right, so if you found the thousands column, 5 or more raise the score, 4 or less leave that mess. You would have your answer is 717 thousands because it's a 3 is knocking on his back door, so we're just going to leave him the same. Try this one. Here we go. All right, so who's that knocking on my back door? 0 happens to be in the thousandth column. Who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. So we would have this as our answer. We would go up 1 in the thousandth column. Good work, grade 6s. This will help you when we are working with um, turning fractions into percentages, and you don't always get a nice little happy number or friendly number, and you're going to be rounding it.